Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a highlight of round 11 of the 2023 Tata Steel Masters Tournament, played on Friday, January 27th. A quiet round. Of the 7 games, 6 ended in draws and only one decisive game was played. In this video we're going to look at the game between Praggnanandhaa from India with the white pieces versus Maghsoodloo from Iran on the black side. The opening had been a Sicilian Najdorf, and this is the position after 17, knight e3 to f5 from Praggnanandhaa. That move was played after 10.5 minutes of thought, and it is not a good move. Praggnanandhaa is playing on the wrong side of the board. The engine says white should play on the queen side, while Praggnanandhaa is trying to gain activity against black's king on the king side. What he should have played here is a move like b4 instead of knight f5, and then we see knight c to a4, those knights get swapped, rook fc1 to prepare c4, and that's the way to play. This is slightly better for white. But knight f5 was played as said, and you can take it with the pawn. That is possible, but then there is e takes f5, and you can save that bishop. The bishop gets swapped, and then f6. Attacking the other bishop, and that bishop you cannot save, so you have to give the piece back with bishop takes f6, because if you save the bishop then there is queen g4 check, and this is checkmate. In the game Maghsoodloo decided not to take with the pawn but with the bishop, e takes f5 and d5, a strong pawn center for black. Black is better. Let's put the next few moves on the board and go to the next critical moment that was commented on by the grandmasters in the live broadcast and also by the players after the game. f4 is a critical move, and you should not really take it en passant, because then there is rook takes f3 and that bishop goes to d3, and suddenly white has a lot of play against black's king with those 4 pieces. Maghsoodloo did not take en passant, he played queen b6 check, and after the king played, he played f5, and now the queen is covering that g6 square. And suddenly there is no play against the black king. The white queen is attacked, you have to drop back, and knight takes b2, and black is a very healthy pawn up. And white's attack on the king side is not going anywhere. Big advantage for black. Let's put the next moves on the board. Bishop takes and king takes on h6. Interesting way to swap a piece. Bishop b3, rook a to c8. A pawn was swapped. Rook to d1 and now d4. White is getting squashed, said Grandmaster Peter Svidler in the Chess24 broadcast. The black king is completely safe on h6. Black has all the squares around the black king under control. I marked them there in yellow. This means that white has no counterplay, and black can slowly keep making progress with his monster pawns in the center. The pawns on d4 and e4. And he has an extra pawn as well. Let's play more moves. Go to the next critical moment. It's gonna get very interesting. And here you can take on g3. It was not played. If white then takes that bishop on e7, it looks for a moment that you can win with d takes c2, and that pawn goes through to queen, but there is rook takes d8 and an unstoppable threat of rook h8 checkmate, and suddenly white wins this game of chess. Maghsoodloo decided not to take on g3. His queen is attacked. He ignored that. He played d takes c2 first. A lot of calculation had to be done. Can you not take the queen? Well, you can, but then there is rook takes d1, and that is winning the queen back. Queen takes d1, you get a new queen. That queen goes, and bishop takes h4 with a winning endgame for black. 2 pawns up. Okay, let's look another line after d takes c2. Can you maybe just take that pawn? You can, but then there is rook takes g3. And if you now take on e7, then there is rook takes h3. And you will get checkmated. After king g2, queen g3 is checkmate. And if you play king g1 instead, then it's mate in 2. Like this. Very nice. So those are variations after d takes c2, and then we looked at taking the queen on h4, and we looked at taking the pawn on c2. Praggnanandhaa chose another move. He took on d8. And now you can just promote that pawn, c1 queen wins for black. But Maghsoodloo said in his interview after the game that he was a bit low on confidence and that he saw that white had some checks. For example, rook h8 check, king g7, rook g8 check. But after king h7 there are no more checks and black is just a lot of material up. It would have probably caused Praggnanandhaa to resign here. But Maghsoodloo decided to take on d8, take the rook. And now he has to put more work in. You can play bishop g8 here with the threat of rook h7 checkmate, but there is the nice move queen e7. Yes, you can give material back. Rook takes, bishop takes, queen c1 to stop the pawn, but then there is bishop a3 and black is winning. Nice variation. After bishop takes d8, bishop g8 was not played by Praggnanandhaa. He decided to take the queen now. And then black got his queen back. Queen takes, rook takes check, king g2 and bishop takes h4. And we have again that endgame with 2 extra pawns for black. Black is winning. Rook a6, rook c3, bishop e6. Threatening to take on f5, the g-pawn is pinned. Rook c2 check and king went to h1. And now it looks for a moment that you win with e3, but there is a trick. Bishop takes f5, then e2, threatening to promote, but there is rook takes g6 check. And if you go to h5, there is rook e6 with a double threat. The rook is hanging on c2 and there is a threat of bishop g4 checkmate. And suddenly the game is even. You can promote with check, rook takes e1, bishop takes e1, bishop takes c2, and this is a draw. So that's why you cannot play e3 in this position. Maghsoodloo saw it, it was a nice trick set by Praggnanandhaa, and Maghsoodloo found bishop f6, and this is still winning for black. Let's see what happened. We have a very nice finish, bishop d7, king g7, that pawn was taken, rook f2, rook a7 check, the king went up, rook a6 hitting the bishop, bishop d4, bishop e8 attacking that g6 pawn, trying to get counterplay against that king. But now finally the e-pawn starts running, and after rook takes there is king h7, no checkmate threats now, rook g1, e2 and bishop b5, and Maghsoodloo had to see this in advance because now there is only one winning move and it's very nice. Rook h2 check is the only move that wins. You have to take it, and then bishop takes g1 is also check. Again you have to take it and the e1 square is unprotected, and this is an easy win for black. What a game! Parham Maghsoodloo won a wonderful game against Praggnanandhaa Ramesh Babu. Lots of calculation to be done in this game, and as always the Grandmasters made it look easy. The penultimate round, round 12, will be played on Saturday the 28th of January, and I will be here after the round with another highlight. I hope you liked this video, and that if you did, you give it a thumbs up, that you subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and that you leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.